6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. It's the newest thing to do. Stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. The distance between me and you. 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And when I say I'll keep you very close to my heart, it's purely metaphorical. These times are quite historical. So step aside, let's live our lives 6 feet apart.
Good evening and welcome to 6 Feet Apart Productions Storyslam on the theme of rescue. We're so glad you're with us, and tonight all stories about being rescued. This is our 5th and final Storyslam of the year. We're very excited about it. Thanksgiving, of course, is next week, and rather than do a theme of being thankful, we went for rescue because, let's face it, the Pilgrims barely survived, and they wouldn't have done it without the help of the neighbors, the Wampanoag Indians. And I don't know why the Pilgrims left in November. I mean, everybody knows you don't go to New England in November. I mean, if you want to get the fall colors, you got to get there mid-September, you know. And maybe they got cheap passage that time of year. Not really sure, but it wasn't a good time to show up. So if it hadn't been for the Wampanoag, they would have been gone. So rescue is our theme. We've got a great show for you tonight. You're going to get to vote for your favorite story, and we'll do that at the end. You'll go to our website, sfapshows.com, and look for the red button to vote. Like I said, we'll do that at the end. Tonight, you're going to hear 5 storytellers with true personal tales, something to do with rescue. Being rescued, rescued someone else, throwing a lifeline out, or grabbing onto the lifeline. And these are all true personal stories, as I said, and there's no rants, no raves. It's not stand-up comedy, okay? They're true personal stories. And before we go further, though, we'd like to give a shout out to our live studio audience. So if we can have a look at them, everybody in the audience, yay! Give us a wave. All right. We're happy you're here. And those of you watching on YouTube, put some love in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Let us know how you're doing tonight. Now, you've done this enough. You're used to it. It's virtual. It's weird. It's weird not to be able to see the reaction, because I'm used to being able to look people in the eye and not get a reaction rather than this. But still, tonight, you know what to do. You're comfortable. You're in your pajamas, or maybe you're naked. Who knows? You're on the couch. You got your favorite beverage, and the bathroom and the kitchen are all close by. So get comfy, turn down your cell phone, and get ready for some great stories. Our first storyteller tonight lives outside of Boston, and he's been storytelling for about 18 months, and he's participated in, now listen here, also Mass Mouth storytelling events, and he won a 99-second Grand Slam. And if you've ever tried to tell a story in 99 seconds, it is really difficult. It's much easier to tell one in like 20 minutes and just ramble on and on. 99 seconds is tough. He spends most of his time writing, drinking wine, getting super anxious about sharing embarrassing stories about himself. So please give a warm virtual welcome to Zach Stewart.
Is your best friend really your best friend if they haven't dragged your drunken body out of a bush? Especially when they didn't have to. Let's rewind an hour before. Me and my best friend Meg are at a bar, an outdoor bar in Thailand. It looks a little bit like a sunglass hut, but instead of shades, there's just a giant pole in the middle. And Meg is having a great time, but she's trying to let me know that it's time to go home. You see, the next day on our trip, we're going to the elephant sanctuary, and that's the thing she's been most excited about when we decided we were going to visit Thailand. And the bus leaves pretty early, so she's like, we probably should go back so we have enough sleep. I don't have the same sentiment. Me and this guy had just ended things right before this vacation, and I was trying to take full advantage of vacation mode. I wanted to be in my unbuttoned Hawaiian shirt with my frozen pina colada and sweaty from dancing. I wanted to be vacation me, Zachary Daiquiri, if you will. And here at this club, I was able to do that. The problem with Zachary Dackery is you really can't tell him not to do anything. He's going to do what he wants. So when the girls at the Thai girls at the bar said my dancing reminded them of the Macarena, that didn't stop me. I doubled down. I jumped out behind the bar and got on the pole while the bartender queued up Ariana Grande. I thought I was mimicking dance moves of this petite songstress, but I looked a little bit like Homer Simpson trying to do body rolls. After I embarrassed myself sufficiently, Meg grabbed me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, I think it's time to go. We've had a lot of fun. We got to get up for the elephant sanctuary. But I brushed her off and talked to one of the Thai girls complaining how Meg's a wet blanket and never lets me do anything fun. Meg overheard me and her nice suggestion turned to her grabbing my arm and dragging me out of the bar. We're almost home as I'm stumbling through the streets, and we can see the hotel, so she only has to put up with me for a few more minutes. But it's up this steep hill. I look over at her and slur the words, I know a shortcut, like we haven't both been at the same hotel for 16 hours. And I run up the hill, and I trip and I lose my balance and I fall. And I get back up, dust myself up, and run back up the hill one more time. And I tumble down. This happens probably 4 or 5 more times, and Meg doesn't stop me because she thinks this is probably a great way for me to learn my lesson. She looks over and she hears me screaming for help, rolls her eyes, and pulls me out of the bush. And I trod behind her, limping as we get back to the hotel room, immediately passing out on the bed. Meg bitches about me to her boyfriend for about 15 minutes and then looks over at me. My ankle's twisted. There's cuts up and down all my leg, and there's twigs in them and brush. And instead of going to bed, she wakes me up, takes the twigs out of my leg, throws me in the shower, hoses me down, and bandages my leg up before we can go see the elephants the next day. A true friend will rescue you from a beast or a bush, even if you've been an asshole on vacation. Thank you so much.
Woo! Yay! Woo! Yay! 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 Thank you. Thank you for Thai Bush Rescue. And I love Zachary Dackery. That is great. I wish I had a good drinking name like that. I don't know what that would be. I don't even want to try to go there right now. So thank you, Zach, for that story. And we're just going to keep it going. And next to the virtual stage is a 14-year member of Toastmasters Iowa, but don't hold that against them. The competition is stiff in Iowa. There's a lot of good speakers in Iowa. So I'm from the Midwest. I know this is a fact. He's a longtime facilitator and speaker who incorporates humor and leadership and change into his presentations. He's addressed Toastmasters semi-annual conference and the Daughters of the American Revolution. So I just love that juxtaposition. That's a wide range that he covers. And you're going to really enjoy listening to him. So please, a warm welcome for Kory May. Take it away, Kory.
What is this shit? It's April 20th, 2020. I'm looking in my local grocery store and there are aisles that are completely empty. A couple of days before, well, I have an online TV show, sort of, on Facebook. And a couple of days before, I asked my friends, what do they need? Because things were scarce. They said at first, sugar, flour, and yeast. And if I could get a hold of them and send it to them, they'd be grateful. I'm not sending white powder through the mail, okay? Just know. And then I asked for the second choice, toilet paper. Toilet paper? I went to my cupboard and I checked. I've got 24 rolls. I live alone. I'm set. And if this is what being a have feels like, I'm rocking it. Matter of fact, I'm privileged because I've got toilet paper and other folks don't. Well, now come to think of it, I'm going to hear millions of people complaining about how they can't get toilet paper while I've got some. And then after that, there's going to be millions of people wanting a handout. And I'm not going to give it. What kind of choices were made by people where they don't pick up toilet paper? I mean, it's an everyday thing. I'm privileged and I'm special because I've got toilet paper. A little bit later, a friend messages me. Kory, I need your help. What kind of choices did he make? Well, I'm embarrassed to tell you this, that I lost my job and I lost my health benefits, and I used my money to take care of some teeth that needed to be pulled. Can you send me some toilet paper? Of course. And then my son messaged me, Dad, I need toilet paper. Of course. And then a complete stranger messaged me, I need toilet paper. Of course. I'll help. I went around to all the grocery stores in my area and I bought the daily local limit. I accumulated 74 rolls of toilet paper and I boxed them up, carefully matching names with addresses and orders. I take all those boxes to the UPS store and the attendant looks at me with this stack of boxes. And there's a very familiar litany that happens when you're shipping things, and it goes like this. Fragile, soft. Flammable, yep. Liquid, not yet. And he looked at me, what are you shipping? Toilet paper. He nodded. That's not the weirdest thing I've shipped this week. I was surprised. After he took my information and he packed these away, he said, you'll be back. I'll see you soon. I felt pretty good. I'd made a good choice. Everybody was feeling positive, I guess. And then I went to my computer and I checked. I don't know if there's actually etiquette for receiving toilet paper in the mail, but there were no thank you notes. And I was wondering, again, what kind of choices were these people making? Until about 2 weeks later, I received an email. Hi, Kory, you don't know me. I was a complete stranger that saw your broadcast and I asked for help. I had 3 rolls of toilet paper to last me a couple weeks with me and my kids. On the day I received your package, I was down to my last 8 squares. Thank you. You're my hero. Now, I felt really good about that, but upon further reflection, it came to me that they could have gotten toilet paper from any number of sources. And I saved them some momentary discomfort. But the truth is, they saved me from being a judgmental jerk. And that's my privilege. Thank you.
Nice. Very nice.
Yay.
Love it.
Yay. Thank you, Kory. Thank you very much for heroes in the time of COVID. As I said, this is about rescue and it ties in a little bit to Thanksgiving. And so I have some fun Thanksgiving facts that I was going to share with you. Hopefully these are a little more obscure than the usual ones that you learned in school. The first Thanksgiving was celebrated in 1621 and apparently was a 3-day binge. So apparently there was some Zachary daiquiris happening there. I'm not really sure, but it included 50 pilgrims, 50 Wampanoag Indians, and historians believe there was only 5 women there. So I'm not sure if that's true because I don't know how any of those guys got their food cooked without the women there. So I think there must have been more than 5 women. And if they're not, those 5 women were working their ass off. That's all I'm saying. Also, the whole presidential pardon the turkey thing, that didn't happen until recently because apparently Harry Truman, he got the turkey from the National Turkey Association, and then he promptly ate it for his Thanksgiving dinner. So apparently the saving the turkey didn't come along until later in the year. Later in the years, I think John F. Kennedy was the first one to save a turkey. With that in mind, we're going to bring up our next storyteller. Our third storyteller is a musician, presenter, mentor, and first and foremost, wife and mother. She's been sharing stories of history and folklore for almost 18 years. She's connected with audiences all over the world, including Storytelling Conference in Sydney, as well as Edmonton, Canada's Tales Storytelling Festival. And her passion is helping youth find their voice through storytelling. You can find more at hollyrobison.com. So please give a warm welcome to Holly Robison.
Thank you, Regina. I stepped off the airplane into the Paris airport with all the energy and excitement that an 18-year-old on her very first solo world adventure can exude after 14 hours of traveling halfway around the world. I was greeted by my cousin Mary, 1 year older than me, with a hug, and she asked me how my flight was as we made our way to the luggage carousel. That's where the trouble began. Actually, it's not where the trouble began, but it's where I'm going to start telling you about the trouble. You see, in my jet-lagged stupor, I was oblivious to the look of disbelief and horror on Mary's face as she watched me pull not 1, but 2 50-pound suitcases from the belt. You see, I was spending a whole year in Europe after all, 3 days in Paris, but then a train ride to Germany where I was going to stay for a whole year as an exchange student. And in such cases, one does need the kitchen sink. And these cases that I had with me, they were not the chic, modern, easy to use suitcases that we travel with today. Oh no. One was an oversized green duffel bag with 2 little wheels on the end. And when you pulled the handle, the bag constantly hit your legs. And the other one was a suitcase that my grandmother had traveled around the world with, prone to tipping over and losing its wheels. Ever a trooper, Mary began helping me lug these 2 gigantic bags to the subway and the long, long walk to our apartment. It took 2 of us to maneuver a single suitcase down and then back up each set of stairs in the subway. And then I remember following Mary along the cobblestone sidewalk as we walked for what seemed like miles. And I could feel the eyes of the Parisians, those chic, stylishly dressed Parisians that we passed. I could feel their eyes on me, and I could almost hear what they were thinking. Look at that ridiculous American. I can't do Parisian accents, much less say more than a couple words. But I do have some really fond memories. A riverboat ride along the Seine right past Notre Dame, and harmonizing with Mary in the foyer of the Paris Opera House. But my 3 days in Paris with Mary as my guide and translator turned into one when Mary got an invitation from a friend to head off earlier. And much to the chagrin of all the adults we knew, she decided she was leaving me in Paris alone. And what I really wanted to know was how I was supposed to get these 2 50-pound suitcases to the train station all by myself. Problem solvers that we are, we determined that we would take one, the ginormous green duffel bag, to the train station when Mary headed out, and then leave it there until I could bring the other one in a couple days. But when we got to the train station to ask for a locker, they tragically informed us that the Paris train station no longer had lockers because the homeless people were sleeping in them. So I forlornly waved goodbye to Mary as her train disappeared and looked down at the 50-pound lug as my companion. And I felt so very alone thinking about trying to get it home. And this may sound ridiculously small to you, but for me, it was a huge thing. It was the very first challenge for me to encounter without my parents being a phone call away. So I called the only person I could, the man upstairs. Now, I may not have sounded very polite when I was asking him why was this happening to me? And I really wanted to know if he was going to send me any relief. After lugging my suitcase to the subway, I could hardly hold back the tears as I rode to my station. And when we did stop, I tripped over my 50-pound weight getting off of the car. But I heard a voice behind me say, "Do you need some help?" And it was in English because I could actually understand what he said. And the floodgates burst. I could hardly answer in the affirmative for all the emotions flooding out of my eyes. And then this gentleman, who I had never met before and haven't seen since, he took one handle of my green duffel bag, and I took the other one, and together we went up the stairs, and he walked me all the way to my apartment. And it didn't quite seem like the miles it had felt like the first time that I walked it. But I can tell you that every step felt like I was walking with an angel. Thank you.
Yay, thank you, thank you, woo! All right, okay. Yay. Welcome back, welcome back. Thank you very much. Thanks for that story of an adventure in Paris. We've all got that story, I think. Maybe not that exact same story, and maybe not exactly in Paris, France, but you get my drift. I'm happy to bring our next storyteller, and I think she knows that she's coming to the stage. We've shuffled up the order a little bit just to keep everybody hopping and keep me on my toes. But she travels, she's presently traveling in an RV around the country. I believe she's in Sedona, Arizona right now. And she's visiting also the world's largest hand-dug well. and climbing inside a plug volcano, which sounds like it could go a lot of different ways. So we're not going to go there. She's the author of 12 books and is most proud that she got her dog on to do commercials on TV. And also she appeared in the Fox reality TV show, Trading Spouses. So she clearly has a lot of stories, and maybe she's driving around the country, you know, looking for the other spouses. I'm not sure, but you can follow her on her Instagram. You can follow her at Silvana Clark. She said her Instagram account is somewhat pathetic. So if you could follow her, then maybe she could sort of shed that pathetic adjective. But regardless, we're happy that she stopped long enough and connected to some Wi-Fi. So please give a warm virtual welcome to Silvana Clark.
It's 9:30 at night. My husband and I are watching Seinfeld reruns when the phone rings. A friendly voice says, "Hi, Silvana, can you take two?" Now, in the world of emergency foster care, when a social worker says, "Can you take two?" that means she has two children that have just been removed from an abusive situation, and they need a place to stay for 72 hours. And that gives caseworkers the time to find a permanent foster home for these children. I said, of course. So there are two brothers, 6 and 8 years old, and we'll call them Sam and Eric. Now, the caseworker told me the dad was in jail. Their mother had overdosed on drugs and had left them alone in their apartment for 2 days. Little Eric also had cigarette burns on his chest where his dad had snuffed out cigarettes on his chest. They arrived at midnight. They were very skinny. And I said, "Are you hungry?" And they said, "Yes." So I gave them some leftover spaghetti, and they immediately started picking it up with their hands and shoveling it into their mouths. And I slightly suggested that they could use a fork, but I noticed when they picked up the fork, they sort of speared the food. And I realized they didn't really know how to use silverware. It was getting pretty messy. So I said, "Hey, how about spaghetti tacos?" And I got, those crunchy tacos that are already preformed, and we put spaghetti inside, and then they could hold it and they ate their crunchy tacos. Well, the next morning, my husband, Alan, is playing Legos with the boys, and I look at their paperwork and I realize it's Sam's birthday. Well, I tell Alan, and we go into this rousing rendition of happy birthday, and we even do a makeup happy birthday dance. And both Eric and Sam, they just kind of look at us. And I realize, I don't think they've had too many parties. So I say, "Sam, because you're 7 years old today, it's your birthday, we're going to have a party." And I'm thinking, okay, how can I pull off a party? And Sam and Eric, their eyes light up and they just say, "A party? A party?" I say, "Yes. And Sam, you get to make your own birthday cake." I figured this would take some time. And Sam, again, he's so excited. And I say, "Yes, now that you're 7, you can use a hand mixer." He doesn't know what a hand mixer is, but he's very excited. So while Sam and I are making his birthday cake, Alan and Eric start decorating. And Eric gets very excited with the crepe paper, those crepe paper streamers we have. He's never used those before. So he's wrapping up our plants. He's wrapping up the light shades, and he puts a little crepe paper around the toilet. I mean, this is a party. Well, while the cake is baking, Alan takes them out into what we call Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We have this huge wheelbarrow, but it's also kind of a wagon, and it has a handle. So the kids sit in this big wheelbarrow thingy, and they have the handle, and Alan pushes them around the cul-de-sac while they steer, which means that they're going from one side of the road to the next. They usually hit the curb, they fall into the grass, they laugh, and they say, "Can we do it again?" And I hope there are no social workers watching, because they'll probably say that it was too dangerous. And while they're outside, I'm running around looking for presents. So I find a few little Matchbox cars and some glow-in-the-dark necklaces. I wrap those up. Well, they come back in, and I have Sam start frosting his cake. And he is spreading that frosting all over the cake. There is frosting on the counter and in his hair. But the look on his face is pure joy. So I get excited. I say, hey, why don't you add some sprinkles on the frosting? We get the sprinkles, and he sees the cupboard where the sprinkles are, and he sees chocolate chips and says, can I put chocolate chips on the cake? I say, of course. And then he sees the marshmallows, and he says, can I have marshmallows on my cake? I said, of course. So finally, we're ready. Another rousing chorus of happy birthday. He gets his presents, and he's so excited, and he says, can I keep these? I tell him, of course. Well, then we're eating this cake, and Alan and I declare that it is the world's greatest birthday cake. I mean, there is so much frosting on it, and there is sprinkles, and there are chocolate chips and smashed down marshmallows, but I see the joy on little Sam's face. And he looks at me and he says, this is the best day ever. And I wish I could end the story and say, yep, happy ending, isn't that a great story? But I know what's going to happen in a couple hours, because it always does. The boys come up to us and they say, can we live with you forever? And that's when my heart breaks, because we have to tell them that they can't. And we have a firm commitment to just doing 72 hours of emergency childcare for foster kids. And some people will say to me, oh, I could never be foster parents because it's so hard when they leave. And you know, it is. It rips my heart apart when they leave. But it's not about me. And so Alan and I continue to take these little kids, and we just hope that somewhere in their lives, they're going to remember that there were two people that were kind, that were funny, and help them make the world's greatest birthday cake. Thank you.
Woo! Yay! Yay! Thank you. Thank you very much, Silvana. Wow, I'm a little clumped over that. Thank you for being the Wampanoag for the foster care kids. Thank you for that. That is that's wonderful. So next in our storytelling, well, one more fun fact. Did you know that Americans eat over 50 million pumpkin pies on Thanksgiving? And I think my kids probably have that many cans of whipped cream that they shoot directly into their mouth on Thanksgiving. Now, our last storyteller is coming in as a pinch hitter, as it were. And we're very excited. I have not heard her tell stories, but I know that she is a great storyteller. She just recently was on a show. I think it was Better Said Than Done. And if not, it was a show. Yeah, it was Better Said Than Done. I'm getting the thumbs up from Jessica. So please, you got to give a warm, warm welcome to someone who was just in the audience and suddenly has been plucked to the front of the stage. It's like The Price is Right, only it's storytelling. So everyone, give a very, very warm virtual welcome to Claire Castell. Yay, Claire!
All right, well, thank you. I thought of a rescue story as it happens, so I will tell you my story of the woodsman, the jock, and the boy. And this happened to me in 1983. I lived in the Santa Cruz Mountains in a little mountain community. I was in my early 30s and I lived with my son. I was divorced. And this is a kind of a tight-knit little mountain community. And we're a little bit off the grid, and we're enough off the grid that we don't have city water. We have our own water company. And so the closest thing we have to a mayor is the water master. I'm going to call him Bruce. And he's he fancies himself as a Grizzly Adams sort of fellow. He has a beard and flannel shirt, and he decides to organize a hike across the freeway to the reservoir with some of the folks in our little Chimakita Park community. And he says there is a water temple. If you follow the creek all the way up the reservoir, there's a water temple. I know it's there. And that sounds kind of interesting. I am going to go with my son, and I also invite a guy I'm dating at the time, Kurt. Now, Kurt is a bodybuilder. He's a big macho guy, and I am trying to like him because he does look good on paper. He has his own home, he has a good job, and Lord knows he has a good physique. So I'm, sort of in the market for a new father for my son, so I take him along. We have a group of about 7 people, and we go across and we start this hike. And the watermaster, he's got his big hiking pole, and he says, yeah, this is going to be great. And we go for about an hour, and we've got a trail. We're stepping over some things, but it's okay. Now we are saying, so how much further do you think it is? Well, no, it's just up here. It's just up here, he says. And okay, the second hour, we lose the trail. Some of the people peel off and go back, but now we're stepping in the creek and over broken logs. And he is insisting, oh yes, it's just not far. I'm sure it's not far. And then the guy that I'm dating, Kurt, he starts to whine. Oh, I think I stepped in poison oak. Oh, Kurt, we've been walking in poison oak for the last hour. But here is my son. He's a little 10-year-old guy with a blue backpack, and he's, we're all in our 30s. We're fit, but he's out ahead of the crowd, just tromping ahead, and he's just going for it. Well, now we've gotten to the second hour, and the watermaster keeps saying, oh, it's got to be up here. Now we're really doubting him. Now I'm out there in the woods. It's getting dark. I'm with my son, and I have to decide what I'm going to do. Now, about that time, we're sitting there, and my son says, hey, Mom, if we go straight up that ravine over there, that's Bear Creek Road, and we have some friends up there. I go, damn, you're right. And, it's one of these climbing deals where there's not much slant, where all fours are required to climb up. But, I'm in my 30s, I'm good. And he's out ahead of all of us. And we get to the top of the hill, and we're on Bear Creek Road. And I don't know where the watermaster went, that fool. And as it happens, our friends we know on Bear Creek Road come down the hill in their VW bus, and they say, hey, Claire, Matt, what are you doing up here? So we pack it in the car, and they take us home, and we're safe. And I thought, I had this macho guy and this woodsman, but the guy who really saved the day, who rescued us, was that 10-year-old boy, Matt. Thank you.
Woo! Yay!
Great show.
Yay!
I love to tell that story. My son's 46 now, or 7.
Yay! Thank you. Claire, thank you so much for that story. The Watermaster and famous last words. I know it's just right around the corner. That's the phrase that's going to get you walking for like another hour or two through the snow. So thank you so much for stepping in. Thank you for just being willing to jump up on stage and go for it. That's the kind of spirit and spunk and go-to grit we like. That was the kind of spirit that got you through that walk in the woods. But now is the time to vote. And in order to do that, you're going to head over to our website. So those of you watching on YouTube and those of you here in the audience, go to sfapshows.com. sfapshows.com. There's a red button, says vote. Click on that and you'll get to a page that has the picture of everyone except for Claire. So here's what I'd like you to do, audience members. Listen close. If you'd like to vote for Claire's story, vote for Cyndi's story. So we're going to replace Cyndi with Claire. Okay, so I know that's a little confusing, but Cyndi wasn't able to be here tonight. So, yeah.
Sorry, Regina, you can't see me, but I did replace Cyndi with Claire's name, but just not her picture.
Got it. Okay, well, that's the kind of snap tech team we have here at 6 Feet Apart Productions. We got curtains, we got a theme song, and we've got the ability to magically change names at the last second. So if you'd like to vote for Claire, Claire. But remember, we've got Zach, Silvana, Kory, Claire, and Holly. So head over there. What's going to happen right now, the voting, and I'm going to stall for time and talk about Pilgrims, etc., while everyone is voting. Now, rescue, we actually have a dog that is a rescue dog. We got her from China for real. And I don't know what that says about America that we're importing our dogs from China, but she's from China and people are always like, well, does she understand English? And I'm like, well, no, of course not, but she can order takeout. So we love her anyway. And when we got her, we wanted to train her the right way. So we did that crate training. And I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's where you put everything that is valuable that you own in a crate, and then you just let the dog kind of run around the house and do whatever they want. It gives them a great sense of confidence. And, you know, she was a good dog, but she had like one habit that really was annoying. Well, I don't know how else to say this. She recycled her food is what she did. She recycled her food, and that was problematic. But the good news is they make a pill for that. So I don't know, I guess it makes their poop taste like crap. I'm not really sure how that works. But that is our dog. And she, you know, those TV shows, I didn't know that dogs needed like raincoats and boots. How did they survive for centuries, millennium without raincoats and boots? But I guess you got to have those for a dog now. And then those TV shows like The Pet Psychic or The Dog Whisperer. I mean, what does your dog have to tell you that is that important? I know where the ballots are hiding. I mean, really, I don't know what my dog has to say. It's pretty clear what she's saying. She's saying food, 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 poop. Anyway, that's my rescue dog. That's my rescue dog story. Claire, how are we doing in terms of ballot counting? Claire?
They're still going on. Just give us a couple more minutes while people vote.
Okay, no worries, no worries. I'll tell you a little bit about our next show that's coming up. Our final show of the season is going to be on the theme of celebrate. And we are celebrating the fact that 2020 is almost over. Yay. We're very happy to say goodbye to this toilet paper hoarding crazy year that it's been. Not going out. I got to tell you, Claire's, hey, the envelope has come from the accounting firm of P. Mark Hennessy and Company. So let's take it away to my co-producer, Claire Hennessy, and she's going to give us the winning name.
Yes, da, 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 da. We have the winner, and it is, I'm delighted to say, it's Kory May.
Yay, Kory!
Well done, Kory.
Kory.
Yeah, bring Kory back. Thank you so much, Kory. Excellent story. But I have to say, they were all excellent stories. So I'm going to bring Regina back now.
All right. Thanks, Claire. Thanks for doing that. And thank you for our tech guru in the background, Mark Hennessy, otherwise known as Bug. So we want to bring back all of our storytellers. Of course, Kory, congratulations on the big win. The car will be in your driveway within a couple of weeks. And but also, please, let's bring back with a tale of Thailand bush rescue. Let's bring back Zach Stewart to our virtual stage. Thank you, Zach. Very well done. Also, we want to bring up Walking with an Angel, story of big suitcases and struggles in Paris. Let's bring back Holly Robison. Yay. And with a story about searching for water and going through poison oak and being rescued by her 10-year-old son, please, and a big, big extra warm for someone who jumped in and rescued us, Claire Castile. Thank you so much, Claire, for rescuing us. That was wonderful. And last but certainly not least, I hope she's still within Wi-Fi range, the nomadic woman herself. Let's bring up Silvana Clark. Yay! Are we all here? We're all here.
Well done, everyone. Really
Yay.
good stories.
Wonderful stories. Thank you so much. This was our final story slam. We will be having a stellar slam probably in January or February, where we'll bring back all of our winners. Kory, you'll come back and it'll be for the big championship. Also, excuse me, let's not forget our audience. Everybody in the audience, everyone who joined us backstage here, thank you. Sarah and Jessica and John and Nancy. And of course, Claire, you're not our audience anymore. You're one of the performers. You've moved up. Gosh, that's how quick you can ascend to the throne here in our show.
I'm waiting for the crown.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you need to put on a little crown. But thank you so much to our audience. Thank you for those of you who were watching on YouTube. We do appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting the art of storytelling. So have a good night. Drive safe. Hope you didn't have too much to drink. Tip your waitstaff. And hopefully we'll see you on December 5th. Thank you and good night.
Bye.
Bye. Woo! Yeah.
6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. It's the newest thing to do. Stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. The distance between me and you. 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And when I say I'll keep you very close to my heart, it's purely metaphorical. These times are quite historical. So step aside, let's live our lives 6 feet apart.